Hello, good afternoon. My name is Nadine L. Estacio, and today I will tackle what is corporation as a form of business ownership. A corporation is a business organization that operates as a legal entity that is separate from its owners and is treated by law as if it were an individual person. A corporation can do everything that a sole proprietorship or a partnership can do: own a property, buy and sell merchandise, pay bills, and make contracts. So we all know that a sole proprietorship is an individual or single person who runs a company. While a partnership, there is two person who will run a business or a company. So they can do all these things like to own a property, buy and sell merchandise, pay bills, and make contracts. A corporation is a type of business structure. 18.5 of small employer structures as corporations. Owners have limited liability in their business. Corporation and owners are also taxed. So we all know that most of the business in our country or our local community nagabayad sila tax to the government, especially if your profit will raise up to 250,000 a month. Mostly mga dagko sila nga establishment na ang gabayad og ina nakadako nga na tax. And now let's move on to the next slide. Who manages a corporation? A corporation is managed and run by its directors and officers. The directors are appointed by the shareholders and are responsible for the overall management and corporate governance of the corporation. The directors appoint the officers who are responsible for the day-to-day management and operations of the corporation. So a corporation is managed by director and the officers. So the director is appointed by the shareholders and that director is responsible for the overall management in the corporation. So what are the typical officer positions in a corporation? We have the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. These are the positions as a officer. But then, dili lang katuyok dari sa upat na positions ang kaning maging officer ka. But there are also different positions as a officer. But most states, only one director and one officer is required. And that one director and one officer is the same person na sila. So, in other, lang na siya, under other states. Okay, so now let's move to the next slide. Who runs the corporation? Stockholders are the owners of the corporation. You become an owner by receiving shares of stock in the company. Stockholders do not have the right to participate actively in the management of the unless they serve as directors and or officers. So stockholders are the owners of the corporation. They become the owner by receiving the shares of stock in the company. So what is the role of stockholders in a corporation? Stockholders are the individuals who invest money to the purchase of the stock. This makes them a part of the owner since they invest money to the purchase of the stock. The money allows the company to engage in business and hopefully generate profit. Stockholders receive a portion of the profit as a return on their investment. So that's why the stockholders are receiving shares from the company because they invest money. That is mo na nang as a portion of the profit of the company ma-receive nila na. Okay, so let's move on to the purpose of the corporation. The purpose of corporation is to conduct a lawful, ethical, profitable, and sustainable business in order to create value over the long term, which requires consideration of the stakeholders that are critical to its success: shareholders, employees, customers, suppliers, creditors, and communities. As determined by the corporation and the board of directors using its business judgment and with regular engagement with shareholders who are essential partners in supporting the corporation's pursuit in this mission. In short, the purpose of corporation is investing in employees, delivering value to customers, dealing fairly and ethically with suppliers, supporting the communities in which they work, generating long-term values for shareholders, which is the transparency and effective engagement. And lastly, each stakeholder is essential and delivers value to be delivered to them. So that is the purpose of the corporation. Then there is also four advantages of corporation, which is the ability to raise capital, limited liability, continued life, separation of ownership, and management. And at the same time, if there is advantages, there is also disadvantages in corporation. There are three disadvantages of corporation, which is the complex and expensive setup, slow decision making, and lastly is the taxes. So these are all the advantages and disadvantages of the corporation. So I think that's all for my discussion about the what is corporation as a form of business. So that's all, and thank you for listening, ma'am.